She then is asked if she ever loved Lars Eric, and she says yes, she did. I'm sorry? What? Huh? Your whole thing was being upset at him because he said okay. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind Sweden Season 3, The Reunion. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the bell, hype up the video, and leave a comment down below. This was a good reunion. There wasn't anything explosive, but I laughed, I cried. Oh, I cried. I was excited at certain points. I was angry at other points. Some people were held accountable. Other people were given the praise that they deserve. It was good. It was a well-rounded reunion. So let's get into it. We learned that the reunion is filmed 9 months after filming wrapped. So they brought out everybody in pairs, and immediately you could see that Aaron did not want to be there. You could see it in his face and also in his attire. I'm thinking, sir, are you off to play basketball after this? Like, he still looked good, but he didn't look like he was a reunion attendee. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, they then bring out Ibrahim and Anella, who are not only still married, they're also expecting. They're pregnant with a baby girl. Oh, you guys, I was so excited. One thing about Love is Blind Sweden, they're going to bring a baby to that reunion. They're going to bring a baby to the reunion. The host even said this is the 6th baby from Love is Blind couples from Sweden. Angela does say that the child was not planned, but is welcomed, which makes sense because there was so much that was hanging in the balance with this couple, even at the wedding. So yeah, I don't think that they were planning to have a child this soon. Aaron said he suspected it all along. He would ask to hang out with Anella and Ibrahim, and Ibrahim was always like, oh no, Anella's busy, Anella's doing this. So he had a feeling for a long time now that she was pregnant. I feel like he already knew. Like, he was told, it had been confirmed, because the way that these two have a really close relationship, there's no way Ibrahim would not have told him that they're expecting. The host pivots to ask the cast what they're nervous to talk about. Angelica says the breakup is something that she, is not really too excited to get into. Aaron admits that it is hard for him to be in the building as is, so I'm sure he's also nervous to talk about the breakup. There was a lot of talk about eating pineapple, and we learned that that is code for having sex. And so the host asked if that was a difficult conversation for the couples, and Rania says it wasn't a difficult topic. But then when they pan over to Lars Eric to talk about it, he's like, let's shift to somebody else. And then I think they shifted to Daniel, and Daniel was also like, oh no, I don't really want to talk about it either. So it does sound like it's a bit of a taboo thing, but now seeing who is and who isn't in relationships, maybe that's the reason why they didn't want to get into the sex topic too much. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Somebody who likely had sex on their mind very often would be Ledwig, because as we know, Ledwig was struggling in his relationship because that physical connection wasn't where he wanted it to be. We then get to see unseen footage of their breakup. Whew, guys, this was a tough one. So in their breakup, this man reiterates how important physical affection is for him, and he's just not getting that in this relationship. We then see Camila respond to say, listen, you've brought a lot to me right now. It's only 2 days in. It hasn't even been a full 2 days. I'm processing a lot. I'm asking for time. After a previous conversation they had, she was led to believe that they were going to work on the relationship, which is why she's like, okay, you gave a lot to me. I need some time to process. So this breakup was a blindside to her. She says she's confused why he wanted more physical affection because she felt like she was giving that to him. And she then later learned that it wasn't just the physical. He also was looking for validation. She then goes to explain the things that she was doing to validate this man. And can you believe he turns around and says, yes, those things were, validation to me. I did receive those as validation. So you wanted physical affection, you got it. You said you didn't get it. You wanted validation, you got it. And then you said you didn't get it. This man is going to turn around and then say, I just felt like the relationship was more of a friendship. You only gave her 2 days and she asked for time and you didn't give her the time. Like, what's actually going on here? I'm so confused by Ledwig. And I can understand Camila because she was getting emotional watching the breakup back. In the breakup, she was emotional. Watching it back, she was emotional. And I can understand because here you are falling in love with this person. You're, pouring your heart out to them. She had read him this letter that she wrote to her first ever partner. And he loved it, apparently, in that moment. Clearly not enough. Just for him to pull the rug under you to be like, you're just not giving me enough. The physical is just not there. The validation is just not there. While simultaneously confirming that those things were present in your relationship. Literally, the entire room was confused by his behavior. You're here saying you needed things that you're also confirming you got. Like, what is happening? And Anella called him out. The room is clapping. Big man Aaron is clapping because they clocked you, Ledwig. You thought you could be this. I don't know what he thought, to be honest, but nobody's believing the act. What a weird. What's crazy is then the guys are basically saying, hey, you put this girl through a lot. Could you at least apologize to her for wasting her time? Aaron specifically was asking for this man to apologize to Camila for wasting her time. He's going to say, I came in here with the best intentions and it sucks that it didn't work out. Not an apology in sight. Not even a half-assed apology, like, oh, I'm sorry you felt that. Not even that. He said, I came in with the right intentions and it didn't work out. Aaron, I love me some Aaron. Wow. Like, if I didn't love Aaron before, I definitely love him now. Aaron was like, I'm going to be straight with you. I've lost all respect for you. The way that you've treated this woman, the way that you're refusing to apologize right now, I've lost all respect for you as a man. And here goes Ludwig, oh, what am I supposed to do? What am I saying? At least acknowledge that you hurt this woman. At least acknowledge that you strung her along. You didn't give her a chance to work on things. 2 days. You gave her information that things weren't working out in 2 days and she was willing to work on it and you just snuffed it completely. Then Camila is going to tell us they ate pineapples. They had sex. They had sex. You ended it after 2 days claiming you didn't get any physical affection when you had sex. I'm stunned. Yeah, Ludwig is a scary man. Scary, scary man. So then he's asked about Hannah. No, Hannah is asked about him. Yeah. And Hannah's like, there was a little bit of a connection there, but honestly, I'm glad that things didn't work out. I was relieved to no longer be in a triangle, and I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want me. So yeah, could there have been something? Maybe. But if he didn't want me before, he wasn't going to want me later. So I'm not going to fight for that connection. She says that she is single. No, I think she is ready to mingle. I don't remember. He is single, but he is not ready to mingle. He said, I'm going to take some time to work on myself. I need to find myself good. Glad you know. And then Camila also says she is not single. She is single, sorry. She had been going on dates, but then took a break, but now the DMs are open. Next, we have Lars Eric and Raa, who does admit that she overreacted at the whole I love you thing. She said, when I come to terms with the situation, your fiance is supposed to say that they love you. So it is true. I did panic. And for that, I am sorry. So, okay, at least we get some honesty there. Lars Eric says that he felt the shift. So he was like, you know what, let me back up because I think maybe I'm smothering her. If I give her some space, maybe she'll be able to process things better. Ryan is then going to turn around and say him stepping back is the reason why they struggled to communicate. It's the reason why they weren't able to progress because she felt like she wasn't close enough to him to bring up her concerns, to actually talk about feelings and stuff. But I'm thinking, you were calling him a love bomber. Yeah? You were calling him a love bomber. You were saying he was doing too much. So to care for your feelings, he took a step back so that you're not overstimulated, so that you're not overwhelmed. And you're now going to say him stepping back is the reason why things couldn't progress. What? Like, the seating chart was done so perfectly because they put Angelica and Rania on the same couch. They are two peas in a pod. They put Daniel and Ledwig on the same chair. Two peas in a pod. The way that Rania was, you could tell that she's stuck on whatever has happened to her in the past. And they both made some missteps in this relationship, i.e. proceeding knowing that they had big fundamental differences. But the fact that she couldn't even acknowledge that, to me, I just didn't like that. Angelica's going to do something similar when her part comes around, and I'm like, yeah, you guys are exactly the same. Like, this makes sense to me. Rania gets emotional because she says it was really hard to communicate and she wanted so badly to be able to communicate better with Lars Eric. She also is saddened that she came across as an angry person because she naturally isn't that person. She's more happy-go-lucky, she's more bubbly, but she feels like this relationship brought out the worst parts of her and him, that they were both bringing out the bad parts in each other. She then is asked if she ever loved Lars Eric, and she says yes, she did. I'm sorry? What? Huh? Your whole thing was being upset at him because he said okay, whatever. She said that she loved him. And I think it was Ibrahim who was like, did you ever express all of this stuff to him? That you wanted to communicate more, that you wanted to whatever? And she's like, no, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, okay. Ibrahim was like, yeah, I mean, I think Lars Eric would have wanted to hear that sooner. Maybe things would have changed. Maybe he would have gotten closer to you if he knew that you were, on your way to being at the same place that he was. And Lars Eric does co-sign. He's like, yeah, it would have been nice to hear things before today, but it is what it is. We're here now. It doesn't matter. He says things weren't going to work out anyways, and he finally admits that he would have never fully accepted Rania because of her lack of belief in Jesus Christ. We're now being honest. Thank you. That's why I was trying to say, and sometimes it wasn't being articulated well because I could tell in the comments and I just didn't have the energy to explain. I was like, from the moment a Christian is with a non-Christian, or any religion is with somebody who doesn't practice that same religion, I think that's when you call it quits, respectfully. Unless you are indifferent about your religion, you are going to run into problems. You can say, I'm a Christian, but I have my convictions that maybe don't align with this church, and these convictions align with this other church and whatever, but you are under the umbrella of Christianity. And if your partner doesn't agree with the fundamental beliefs of Christianity, it's better you call it quits. I don't understand what's the purpose of continuing to move forward. Because now he's going to say, yeah, I mean, her lifestyle just didn't align with what I believe. Duh. From the beginning, that was clear. You are a Christian. She's a non-believer. End it there. And that was a responsibility for the both of them. They both should have taken that responsibility to be like, you know what? I can't move forward with this. I know you want to, but it's just not going to work. As we know, Lars Eric was also connecting with Danette in the pods. And it turns out they had a little son after the engagement party. They had started to date. Rania did know about this because she had a conversation with Danette. And Danette opened up about the fact that she and Lars Eric shared a kiss. This is interesting because Lars Eric was like, and I pray that you're the last woman I ever kissed, but 2 twos, you turn around and you're kissing the next girl. Huh? Isn't that something? So these two were then dating, but then he went on a trip with Aaron. And I think if Ibrahim did not get married, he would have gone on the trip too. It seems like these three are a little trio. He went on this trip with Aaron and his communication wasn't where it needed to be, which caused the relationship to end. He does admit that he could have done better. And Danette's like, yeah, I mean, he just wasn't committed. End of story. I would have liked something to continue, but he didn't try hard enough. So it is what it is. Turns out Danette is in a relationship and she is happy. So no love lost. Turns out Lars Eric is also in a relationship and he is happy and she's a Christian. So we love that for him. I think he also said, yes, he said, I now know that unconditional love can only come from your mother and Jesus. You don't say. Like you don't say. Romantic love has conditions. And I'm glad he knows that now, because if he was still saying that, he's looking for, unconditional love while being with somebody else, I was going to say, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. But finally, he's come to terms with that. 3 for 3, Rania is also in a relationship. She doesn't want to elaborate, but she says that she's very happy. I'm going to throw out a theory. I haven't researched any of these people and what they're doing. I have a sneaking suspicion she's with a woman. I don't know. I just get that vibe from her. I feel like she would do very well in a same-sex relationship. I don't know what that means, but that's just the energy that I get. I feel like she would be very well suited with a woman. Ibrahim and Anella share videos from their first year of marriage, or their first 9 months of marriage. And I'm a bit confused on whether or not he is living in Stockholm. So somebody please help me out. It seems to me, based on Anella's timeline, she says they had a good summer, but they were going back and forth in the summer. And then they found out that they were pregnant shortly after, like 2 months into their marriage. They found out that they were pregnant, obviously, because she's due in May. So in May would be 9 months. Yeah, I think that's it. At that point, they still weren't living together based on Anella's timeline. And then Ibrahim is going to say he still needs to sell his apartment. So are they living in Stockholm? No, maybe they are. Maybe they are, but it's more of a recent thing. Like, since she got pregnant, they were like, okay, we have to fast track this plan. And then he just still hasn't gotten around to selling his place. Yeah, one of the Swedish people, please help me out, because I was lost. I was a little bit lost. But anyways, they're very happy to be, expanding their family. They say that eventually they plan on getting a bigger place, obviously, because their family is growing. They do say that, of course, the distance wasn't ideal and being separated has caused a lot of anxiety for the both of them. However, they make it work because they love each other. And that's what I was thinking too. I was like, okay, yeah, it would be ideal for your person to come to you right away. But if you cannot do that, you just make the long distance work. If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. If you believe in the relationship, if you think that the marriage is worth fighting for, you do what you got to do. Now, the person has to have a plan, and it sounds like Ibrahim now has a plan. So this is great. I hope that by the time the baby comes, he has sold that place, because you don't need to be paying no expenses at another home when you got to, take care of a baby. I don't know what it's like in Sweden, but over here, babies are expensive. They segue into talking about the 5 love languages, and it seems everybody but Daniel knows what they are. Come to find out, this man knew what Joanna's love language was before the conversation in Corfu, because they had a very directed conversation about what Joanna's love languages are. She said, I love acts of service. And here are the examples of the types of service that I love. On top of that, I love clear communication in a relationship. I don't want somebody who just wants to talk in circles. I don't want somebody who listens to respond. I want them to listen to understand. He knew both of these things before leaving the pods. So for this man to have the audacity to tell the other castmates that he didn't know what her love languages were. He doesn't know how to love this girl. He doesn't know how to show up for her. He's so confused why things just aren't working out. Is crazy. Joanna Ben said what she was looking for in a relationship. And he's there like, yeah, no, I understand. Okay, yeah, I can definitely do that. Yeah, I got you. And then to act the way he did. Oof. From watching back the footage, it is clear that Daniel loves to feign ignorance. I think that's his power play. He straight up admits that life has been easy for him. And whenever he's faced with a difficult task, he just likes to ask for help. Instead of figuring things out on his own, he'd rather somebody hold his hand. He admits this. And I'm like, you know what? If he's one thing now, at least he's introspective. So you knew that this relationship was going to require more from you, but instead of actually trying to do something about it, you're like, oh, Joanna, just do it for me, please. Just do it. And so Joanna says she's really irritated by Daniel and how he approached the relationship, because she was willing to work it out if he was going to actually work towards bettering himself in this relationship. But unfortunately, he had concepts of a plan and didn't actually have a plan. It was always, oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to communicate more. I want to be more vulnerable. I want to be more understanding. But he never actually took any steps towards doing said things, which is why she was eventually pissed off, because I'm not going to take the fluff. If you're not going to be serious about this relationship, I'm not going to fight for it either. Daniel then says he's actually very open with his family. They're able to be vulnerable with each other, which actually contradicts what he said on the show. Liar. And then he says the process has shown him that his friendships are actually very shallow. And now he's worried about bringing up those concerns because he gets along with his friends very well. So to call out the fact that there isn't really much going on in his friendships would mean potentially missing out on those friendships. So again, whenever he's faced with something difficult, he's just like, no, thank you. No, thanks. Not trying to deal with that. So then the recording comes up, right? Listen, we're going to condense this because they talked about this for way too long. Basically, Joanna says the man outright lied. He knows what I meant when I said recording. Basically, if we had the footage of the show being recorded right now, we'd be able to fact check what we're saying or reflect on what we're saying, whatever. He's still going to stand on the fact that he misunderstood her. He thought that she was recording. And so he decided to record himself. The problem is he recorded under the table and only made it clear after the fact that he was recording. If in fact you misunderstood everything and you thought that she wanted you to record, put the phone on the table and announce that you are recording. We can start and stop right there. Nothing else needs to be said. If you truly thought this was for educational purposes, because that's what he keeps saying, oh, the recording was for educational purposes, put it on the table and announce that it's being recorded. So then Ibrahim is annoyed because Ibrahim is like, I was counseling you under false pretenses. I thought that you were being recorded first, so you were doing it in like a retaliatory way. But now I'm realizing that you outright lied to me. Like, that's wrong. He's like, no, I just misunderstood. I misunderstood. If you really misunderstood and you thought that she was already recording you, which is something that Camila says, why would you also need to record? The point is something's being recorded. And if that's all you needed, then her recording should have been enough. You're being shady and you know you're being shady. Like, what the hell? So he's asked to apologize too. And he's really hesitant to apologize. He just keeps saying, it's a misunderstanding. The room is like, no, it's not a misunderstanding. Just apologize to the girl. So he eventually does apologize. I don't know. Anella then praises Joanna for the patience that she had throughout the process having to deal with somebody like Daniel. And honestly, yeah. I did have my thoughts about her just because like sometimes Daniel would present one way and then he would present another way. So I was thinking to myself, okay, is it a matter of like her having her walls up and them not being able to meet each other? This man was emotionally manipulative. He's a pathological liar. Clearly, he didn't have the right intentions coming onto the show and she didn't get a good try. She just didn't. I wish that she had somebody like Ibrahim because that's who she was connecting with first. And if she had somebody like that, then maybe we would have seen more of her. And it could be true that her walls would have still been up with that person, but at least she would have had somebody who was going to actually have the best intentions coming in here. And Daniel just, no. Whether he knew it or not, he did not have the best intentions coming on the show. She's asked how she felt about the girls immediately siding with Daniel. And she says, honestly, there's no hard feelings now because I am aware that they didn't have the full story. It did hurt in the moment, but I knew what my truth is. So it is what it is. Then after, she says that there's no action in the love department. However, she's not really in a rush. She knows that she's ready to find her partner, but she's not chasing it down whatsoever. Daniel and Ellen are asked if they contacted each other after they had met up at the engagement party, and they absolutely did not. Daniel says that he has been in a relationship for 6 months with somebody. And the person actually says that he communicates too much about his emotions. And I said something similar on the show. I said it's interesting how he came from being so emotionally repressed to being this like emotional waterfall all of a sudden. And I don't think that that's fair for the partner that he's with. I think he needs to speak to a professional. Yes. Talk to a professional about that. Of course, talk to your partner, but that over time can become overwhelming. And honestly, I'm wondering if this girl is being gaslit too, because the way that this man is proving to be not who he presents, I wonder what that girl is dealing with. And there's no cameras to prove what she's going through. So best of luck to that lady. Then we pivot to Ellen and Fabian. They're asked about their connection. Obviously, it was painful to watch for most people. Ellen says she was true to her feelings no matter what. And I'm sorry I have to push back on that because the proposal happened the day before the reveal. So you're telling me from the proposal to the reveal, you decided that the love just wasn't there? I don't know, girl. I think there was a time before then that you knew. And I mean, good on you for cutting things off, not pursuing a relationship, knowing that it didn't feel right. But I feel like I feel as if she knew before the reveal. And I don't think that was fair to Fabian. Yeah. Especially for her to turn around and be like, oh yeah, I'm just not even ready to date anybody at all. Like what? What? She says you are not obligated to be with anybody, but you are obligated to tell the truth. And yes, nobody's saying that you should have forced it with Fabian, but you could have been more truthful. You could have been more truthful. You're telling me after the engagement, you decided you weren't ready to be with anybody at all? No part of you knew that before the engagement? No part of you knew that before you came on the show? Anyways, they're both single. It's probably for the best. Moving on. We have Angelica and Aaron. Oof, guys. Aaron is broken. And he says that too. He's like, it is really hard for me to be here right now. I have to be honest with you. Like, I'm struggling. So he tells Angelica that she's an amazing woman, but the way that she broke up with him broke him. And I agree. He had given her chance after chance after chance, he says. He said, we can date. We don't have to get married. We can just, take our time in the relationship until we're ready and then see about marriage down the line. She stayed, obviously, saying, I want to marry you at the end of this process. He also then made it clear, if you are taking me this far into the process and you switch up on me, we cannot rectify things. We cannot rebuild what we had if you do this to me. She fully understood that. She was fully aware of that. But she still took him almost to the altar just to turn around and be like, oh, sorry, the love is just not there for me like that. She says she's very insecure. That's obviously clear to us. And she's somebody who seeks external validation. Also clear to us. Unfortunately, that is also the reason why she stayed in longer than she knew she should have, because everybody was talking about how perfect they were as a couple. And I also said that too. I was like, okay, I get you guys trying to big up Aaron, but let's also not peer pressure her into being with somebody. If it's not there, it's not there. But my thing is like, you knew well before you because she says she had that epiphany that it just wasn't working after the bachelorette party when she was alone. But she knew before that. We even saw Rania at the bachelorette party talking about all the issues that Angelica had with Aaron. You knew before the bachelorette party that it wasn't going to work. You knew that. I get needing the external validation and being like, well, damn, everybody loves him. I feel guilty now. But you already, I'm sorry. I can't put that all on everybody else. I got to put the onus on her. You knew things were off. That panic that we saw at the beginning, that probably was her also already planning an escape plan. She says it was unfair for her to come to the decision to end things on her own. But at that point, the only thing she could do was run away. And Aaron does agree. He's like, yeah, you did run. I'm glad that you could be honest about that. He says that is like one more shackle that he can release himself from, because all this time he's just been struggling to understand what the hell happened. So for her to be like, yeah, I ran away. He's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm starting to understand what was going on here. He also opens up and says that without Lars Eric and Ibrahim, he probably would still be brokenhearted to this day. This is where I started to get emotional, guys, because Ibrahim then talks about how amazing of a person Aaron is and how he's so deserving of love and how he shouldn't beat himself down because he gave himself a proper try here. He thought he loved this person and he fully immersed himself into the process, and it's not his fault that things didn't work out. Then, we see Aaron get emotional. Ibrahim gets up and goes and hugs it. Oh my gosh. You got this big man crying. I'm crying. They're all crying. Oh. Aaron does say that he is single. However, there was a time where he was trying to date. It was difficult for him though. The room laughs when Ibrahim is like, I think it's going to be a little bit easier now. I think he thought that Ibrahim meant now that he's gotten some clarity, it's going to be easier for him to date. But Ibrahim definitely meant you're a hot commodity. Angelica is in a relationship. She doesn't want to explain things, but she's happy. I'm glad she didn't explain. This is not like the Rania situation. I felt like Rania was trying to be elusive. Whereas with Angelica, you can see that your ex is broken. It's best not to elaborate. Lastly, they were asked how they feel about each other. Angelica says she likes Aaron as a person and she thinks that he's a great guy. Aaron says that there aren't any feelings of love for her, but he does appreciate her as a person that he was once capable of loving. And that's it. That is the reunion. I thought it was great. I thought the season was nice. Sweden is a good one. I have yet to be disappointed by Sweden. And maybe it's because we're still in the early seasons, because even with the US, the early seasons were good and then we started to lose the plot. So I hope Sweden keeps this up because I'm thoroughly enjoying what's going on over there. I wonder if they're going to do After the Altar. I think they did it for the first, was it the first 2 seasons or just the first season? I think it was the first 2 seasons. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what goes on with this couple. But yeah, that's it. If you happen to subscribe because of Love is Blind Sweden, please stay. Don't run away like Angelica. Anyways, as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.